Padmatmani Namaham. Namaste devotees and Jai Sita Ram. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to our Sunday morning satsang. This beautiful June 27th, 2021. Before we commence with our service for today, devotees, I ask that you all join together with me as we chant this very beautiful bhajan before we commence with our service for today. स्वागत संभजन इस मंदिर हो, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो, रंजन सब नर नार। ईश सगुण निरंगुण विनाशी, मात पिता रुयार। ईश सगुण निरंगुण विनाशी, माता पिता रुयार। तोरे भाई हम वास्त सदाई, तोरे भाई हम वास्त सदाई, तार हमें संसार। स्वागत समझन इस मंदिर हो, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो, रंजन सब नर नार। भेर को भावन दुर्लभ भावे, आए यहाँ पर प्यार। भेर को भावन दुर्लभ भावे, आए महात्मगान्य प्रेम विवेक, महात्मगान्य प्रेम विवेक, विश्वरहित तार। स्वागत समझन इस मंदिर, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमार, रंजन सब नर नार। तीर्थ माया मोद लगावे, पुण्य यहाँ पर सार। तीर्थ माया मोद लगावे, पुण्य यहाँ पर सार। संगति संतन निम चलावे, संगति संतन निम चलावे, शोभन सब व्यवहार। स्वागत समझन इस मंदिर, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमार, रंजन सब नर नार, रंजन सब नर नार, रंजन सब नर नार। ओम श्री परमात्मने नमः। At this time, devotees, so that you all join together with me as you go ahead and clasp your hands and close your eyes. Take some time to take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, make sure that you relax your spine, relax your shoulders, your neck, relax your forehead. Clear your mind of all thoughts at this time. And as you continue to concentrate, devotees, focus your mind on a form of Bhagwan that's most pleasing to you, one that helps you focus, and join together with me as we chant our opening prayers. तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं मा विद्विषावहै. Hari Om Shanti, 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 Hari Om. And we all join together, devotees, as we chant the most powerful mantra in this universe, as we join together in chanting the Gayatri Mantra. Om Agakshe Varene Akshari Brahmodini Gayatri Jagat Matar Vishwayoni Namaste. Om Bhuri Bhuva Swaha Tatsaviturnvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yunah Prachodayat. Om Bhuri Bhuva Swaha Tatsaviturnvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yunah Prachodayat. Om Bhuri Bhuva Swaha Tatsaviturnvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yunah Prachodayat. Hari Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Prem se bolo Gayatri Mata ki Jai. As we continue on with our prayers, devotees, we offer obediences that destroy and remove of all obstacles in our life. We offer prayers to Lord Ganesh. Om Shri Ganapati Namaha. Om Jananam Bhutanganani Sevitam Kapita Jammu Palacharamaksham. Om Asutam Shoka Vinashakarakam Namami Viganeshwara Padapankajam. Om Vapratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirviganam Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada. Om Raksha Raksha Ganadhaksha Rakshatre Lokya Rakshaka Bhaktanam Bhayam Karta Trata Bhava Bhavarnava. Om Shriman Mahaganadipate Namam Prem se bolo Ganesh Bhagwan ki Jai. As we continue on with our prayers, devotees, we offer obediences to that universal mother that destroys all evils in our lives. We offer prayers to Adi Shakti Durga Mata. Om Mahadurgaye Namaha. Om Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadrakali Kapalini Durga Kshama Shiva Dhatri Swaha Swadha Namostute. Jai Tvam Devi Chamunde Jai Bhutharati Niharadini Jai Sarvagati Devi Kalaratri Namostute. Adevi Sarvabhuteshu Vishnu Mayati Shamnita. Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Buddhi Rupena Samstita. Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Lakshmi Rupena Samstita. Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samsita. Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shraddha Rupena Samstita. Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shanti Rupena Samstita. Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Tushti Rupena Samstita. Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Dhaya Rupena Samstita. Namastasye 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 Namo Namah. Devotees, as we pray to Mother Durga, we say, O Durga Mata, thou art the supporter of all. children worship you in your many forms. O Ma, we see you as Buddhi, wisdom, Lakshmi, prosperity, Shakti, energy, Shraddha, faith, Shanti, peace, Tushti, contentment, and Daya, compassion. And as we pray to you, O Ma, Namastasye, 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 Namo Namaha. As we pray to you, O Ma, we bow to thee again and again. Devotees, we offer prayers to Mother Durga in the form of the Universal Mother, Matri Sarvabhuteshu Matri Rupena Samstita. Namastasye, 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 Namo Namah. Saubhagyam Arogyam Dehi me Paramam Sukham Rupam Dehi Jayam Nehi Yeshu Dehi Vishu Jahi. Om Prem Sarvari Shakti Durga Mata Ki Jai. At this time, devotees, we now offer prayers to the most influential beings in our life. We offer prayers to the Navgraha Devata, also known as the 9 planets. Navgraha Devataya Namah. Brahma Murari Tripurari Bhanu Shashi Bhumi Suto Bodhascha Guruscha Shukraha Sharirahu Kito Sarvengraha Shanti Ram Bhavantu Sarvengraha Shanti Ram Bhavantu. As we continue on with our prayers, we offer obediences to that being that exists in the form of the sun and that sustainer of all life on this planet. We offer prayers to Surya Narayan. Om Surya Namah 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 Anideva Namastubhyam Prasiddham Mama Bhashkaram Devakar Namastubhyam Prabhakar Namastute Surya Namah Surya Namah Surya Namah Surya Namah. Om Prem Sabolo Navgraha Devata Ki Jai. Prem Sabolo Surya Narayan Bhagavan Ki Jai. As we continue on, devotees, we offer prayers to that sustainer of all things, dharmic and all things righteous in this universe. We offer prayers to Lord Vishnu. Om Shri Vishnu Namaha. Om Shantakaram Bhujangshayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gagan Sadrasham Meghavarnam Shubhanam. Om Lakshmi Katam Kamalayanam Om Hibhiradhyanagam Vande Vishnu Bhavabhayaharam Sarvaloke Ganatam. Om Sashankha Chakram Sakirita Kundhalam Sapita Vastram Sarasirulechanam Sahara Vakshastala Shubhikostu Bhashriyam Namami Vishnu Shirasa Chaturabhujam Namami Vishnu Shirasa Chaturabhujam. Prem Sabolo Vishnu Bhagwan Ki Jai. And finally, devotees, we offer prayers to that universal Father and that universal Guru. We offer prayers to that destroyer of all evils in our life and in this universe. We join together as we offer prayers to Lord Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Karpurang Haurang Karunavata Santam Hirdayarvinde Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami Saram Bhujagendraharam Sada Vasantam Hirdayardavinde Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami Karpura Gauram Karunavataram Samsara Saram Bhujagendraharam Sada Vasantam Hirdayardavinde Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami Bolo Bolo Satmena Bolo Om Namah Shivaya Bolo Bolo Satmena Bolo Om Namah Shivaya 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 Bolo Bolo Satmena Bolo Om Namah Shivaya Bolo Bolo Satmena Bolo Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Hari Om Namah Shivaya Karpura Gauram Karunavataram Samsara Saram Bhujagendraharam Sada Vasantam Hirdayardavinde Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami Karpura Gauram Karunavataram Samsara Saram Bhujagendraharam Sada Vasantam Hirdayardavinde Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami Bolo Bolo Satmena Bolo Om Namah Shivaya Bolo Bolo Satmena Bolo Om Namah Shivaya 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 Bolo Bolo Satmena Bolo Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Hari Om Namah Shivaya Karpura Gauram Karunavataram Samsara Saram Bhujagendraharam Sada Vasantam Hirdayardavinde Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami Karpura Gauram Karunavataram Samsara Saram Bhujagendraharam Sada Vasantam Hirdayardavinde Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami Bolo Bolo Satmena Bolo Om Namah Shivaya Devotees, we offer this next prayer for all those suffering from various illnesses, diseases, injuries, and ailments. We ask that they may have a fast, speedy, and full recovery. We also offer a prayer for those transitioning from this world to the next. May the passage be a smooth and tranquil. Sugandhim Pushnivardanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityuramukshi Umamrutat Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushnivardanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityuramukshi Umamrutat Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushnivardanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardanam urvarukamiva bandhanat mrityurmukshiyomamrutat Om Gangadapataye Namaha Om Kartikeya Namaha Om Nandishwaraya Namaha Om Vasukiye Namaha Om Shri Samsaha Shivaya Namaha Prem se bolo Shiva Shankar Bhagwan ki jai. Devotees, before we continue on any further with our service today, before we continue on with our sermon, I would once again like to thank Uncle Walter and Auntie Sarani for recording a bhajan and sending it in for us to listen to live on our virtual Sunday morning satsang. So we'll go ahead and pan over to that. And again, thank you both for recording that and sending it in. Again, I would like to thank Uncle Walter and Auntie Sarani for recording that bhajan and sending it in for us to listen to live during our virtual Sunday morning satsang. Devotees, I'll make more of an announcement about this as we get to the close of our puja, but we are working on reopening the mandir back. But before we reopen the mandir, I would like to see if anybody else could also record something and send it in, whether it be words of encouragement, words of advice, a song, or anything that you would like to sing or perform or say or do for virtual Sunday morning satsang. Even if you are a dancer, classically trained, and you want to record a dance with some religious music and send it in for us to play during virtual Sunday morning satsang, that would suffice too. So again, if you have anything you'd like to say, record, or send in, please send it in to Shiv Shakti Mandir ga@gmail.com. Again, that's Shiv Shakti Mandir ga@gmail.com. If you send something in, you don't feel like it went through, you're more than welcome to call me or send me a text. You can give our president a call too. He can give you my phone number. I'm not going to give my phone number live on the internet right now. I'll do that during service. But if you have any questions or comments, feel free to message me or give me a call. But again, thank you to Uncle Walter and Auntie Sarani for continuously supporting the virtual satsangs, continuously recording things for everybody to listen to and sending them in every week, time after time. Devotees, at this time, before we commence with our sermon for today, for those of us of our Guru, I'd like for us to join together and offer a prayer to our Guru. If not, then I ask that you take Lord Shiva or any Deva in your mind as your universal Guru, as you join together with me in prayer. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Reo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Dhyana Moolam Guru Murti Puja Moolam Guru Param Mantra Moolam Guru Vakyam Moksha Moolam Guru Kripa Prem Se Guru Guru Deo Ki Jai. Devotees, last week when we had completed our sermon, we had just finished chapter 16 of the Bhagavad Gita. And in chapter 16, Bhagavan Shri Krishna is telling Arjuna all about the divine natures, or the natures of a divine person and the natures of a demonic person. And what are the differences between the two? He goes into length and detail of what the natures of a demonic person are. He says in that chapter, something that you can look back into and read from your own personal Bhagavad Gita or previous satsangs that you can go back and check. But he moves on into chapter 17. So from chapter 16, we talk about divine and demonic natures, but chapter 17 talks about the divisions of faith. The divisions of faith. Now, what does he mean by divisions of faith? Are we talking about things like Shivites, Vishnuites, Jains, Sikhs, Adi Shankaracharyans? What do we mean by divisions of faith? Are the Hindus, Judaism, Christianity, Buddhism? What are the divisions of faith we're talking about here? And Bhagavan Shri Krishna goes on into chapter 1 to describe all of chapter 17 to describe all of that. But before all of that, there's a question that's posed by Arjuna, because he's been sitting and listening this entire time. So the very first verse of chapter 17 is Bhagavan Shri Krishna being asked by Arjuna this specific question. He states to Bhagavan Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Arjuna Uvacha. Ye Shastra Vidhim Usrijam Yajante Shraddhayan Vita Desam Istatuha Krishna Sattvam Ahurajastama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Arjuna looks at Bhagavan Shri Krishna and he asks, "Oh, Bhagavan Shri Krishna, what is the situation of those who do not follow the principles of Scripture, but worship according to their own imagination? Are they in goodness? Are they in passion? Or are they in ignorance?" So he's going back and asking about something related to those who worship but to their own imagination, who worship based off of what they think is right versus what is listed in the scriptures. You know, it's kind of like, and to make the analogy here, it's like somebody who constantly will buy things that they have to build, like shelves, cabinets, tables, drawers, whatever, but then they decide, you know what, I'm gonna figure it out on my own and I'm not gonna read the instructions. And then at the end of it, they're left over with some parts and they're wondering, is this going to hold up? So in order to practice faith, devotees, we have to follow the instructions. So he says, what is that life like for those who don't follow the principles of Scripture, but they work off their own imagine? Are they goodness, passion, or ignorance? Remember, he's using these words as we've learned in other chapters, the three modes of eternal nature, Sattva, Tama, and Raja. The three modes, goodness, passion, or ignorance. Bhagavan Shri Krishna looks at Arjuna, and of course, he has an answer to this question. He looks at Arjuna, and he states the following. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Bhagavan Uvacha. Trividha Bhavati Shraddha Dehinam Sa Swabhavaja Sattviki Rajasi Jeva Tamasi Chittitam Srinu Sattvana Rupa Sarvasya Shraddha Bhavati Bharata Shraddha Mayoyam Purusam Yoyat Shraddha Sa Eva Sa Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. I apologize for that, devotees. In chapter 17, verses 2 and 3, Bhagavan Shri Krishna begins to answer this question about these people. Who are they? How do they worship? Are they in goodness, ignorance, or are they in passion? And he goes on to say, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, one's faith can be in three kinds, in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance. But now, hear about this, O Arjuna, O son of Bharata. According to one's existence under the various modes of nature, one evolves a particular kind of faith. The living being is said to be of a particular faith according to the modes he has acquired. So the faith that we have and the way we live and the way that we worship is acquired by the modes of material nature that we have acquired in life. The modes we have acquired in life. One of my pet peeves, especially when it comes to Sanatana Dharma or when it comes to religion and worship of any way, shape, or form, is that, sorry again, devotees, I had that set on, is the fact that somebody will tell you to do something. They'll tell you to do something specific during a puja, and then when you ask them why, they want you to do that, it's because I said so, because that's what I was taught, because that's how I learned it, because I saw some pundit do it, I saw somebody do it, and I thought it was a good idea. By doing that, devotees, we are living in a mode of ignorance, and by being adamant about doing it that way, we're living in a mode of passion. So if you're ignorant, it's because you decided to learn something or you were told about something, but never understood why you do it. Whenever I perform a puja, no matter whose home I go to, or no matter how many times I do it at the mandir, I make sure to describe everything as appropriate as I perform the puja. Now, I'm not going to do it for every single puja. I'm not going to sit there and say for the Lord Ganesh puja, this is why we wash the feet, the hands, this is why we offer tambulam, and then do that again for the Lakshmi puja, and then do that again for the Navgraha Devata. If you're not on time, that's on you when I describe that. But I make sure to describe every step along the way and why we do it. That's what a good teacher will do. That's what a good leader will do. That's what a good person will do. So the way we worship and the faith that we have is based on our nature. If we're ignorant and we decide to do something during a puja and we do it because that's what somebody told us, that's not us worshiping correctly, because we never actually understood why we have to do it. The scriptures are very specific as to why we have to do things, why we have to offer the kinds of flowers that we do, the color of flower, why we don't wash flowers, why we use our right hand, why we go in clockwise motions, why we only do things 3 times. Everything has a reason. I was going to say rhyme and reason. Everything has a reason. So what Bhagwan Shri Krishna says here is that the living being is said to be of a particular faith according to the modes he's acquired. So if you're doing everything because somebody told you to, it's because the mode that you've acquired over time is that mode of ignorance, because you haven't actually inquired as to why. Always ask why. I don't care who is doing what. You even ask me, why do you do that? And if I don't have an answer for you, devotees, I will more than surely tell you, I don't know. Let me go find the answer and I'll come back and tell you. I always do that. I promise you I'll always do that. So, the way we worship is based off of our modes, is what Bhagwan Shri Krishna is saying. Case in point, to summarize that. He goes on to say, in verses 4, 5, and 6, a little bit more about these modes of material nature and how they relate to worship. He looks at Arjuna and he states, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Yajante Satvika Devan, Yaksa Raksam Sirajasam, Britham Bhutanganam Schanye, Yajante Tamasajana, Asastra Vihitam Horam, Tapyante Tapojana, Brahmadhara Samyukta, Kamaranga Balanvita, Karasayanta Sarirastham, Bhutagramam Achitkasa, Mam Shevanta Sarirastham, Tanvidya Asuras Chayan, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Bhagwan Shri Krishna goes on to tell Arjuna a little further in verses 4, 5, and 6. Men in the mode of goodness worship the demigods. Those in the mode of passion worship the demons. And those in the mode of ignorance worship ghosts and spirits. Those who undergo severe austerities and penances not recommended in the scriptures, performing them out of pride and egoism, who are impelled by lust and attachment, who are foolish and who torture the material elements of the body, as well as the supersoul dwelling within, are known to be demons. So, let's bite this off into smaller pieces so we can understand it a little bit better. Men in the mode of goodness worship the demigods. So for those who are sattva, who are good, we worship the demigods. We're worshiping those that we need to. In the mode of passion, we worship demons. Demons being not just physical demons. We have this notion in Western culture and even Eastern culture too. I'm not going to say either culture is going to be any different, but when we think of the word demon, we think of some physical form that is dark, scary, terrifying looking, but a demon could also be something different, something metaphysical. When we say we worship in passion, we worship demons, it could be the way that we do things. It could be our sins, our pride, our need to satiate the different senses that we have. So understand that a demon isn't something that's just a physical embodiment of evil, but it's also that metaphysical thought of demons that haunt our soul, things that haunt our mind, things of this physical world. And those who worship in the mode of ignorance worship ghosts and spirits, things that aren't real, things that shouldn't be attained, things that will bring you no joy, no salvation. If we undergo severe austerities and penances not recommended by the scriptures, if we perform them with pride and egoism, so pride meaning that we do it only for ourselves, and pride meaning we do it to make ourselves feel better about something, and egoism doing it because we're only focused on ourselves and not the scriptures or others or even worshiping God. If we're impelled by lust and attachment, again, controlling those, not being able to control your physical senses towards objects in this world, and we're foolish and we torture the material elements of the body as well as the super soul, we are to be known as demons. So the more we're attached to our emotions, the more we're attached to these physical objects of the world, the more we are in terms of being foolish, because we're not actually worshiping the way we need to. So again, worshiping in terms of how the scriptures tell us to worship. If somebody's performing a puja, devotees, and they've learned that they have to offer a dhoti to Bhagavan, to Lord Ganesh, and they learned that they have to offer a dhoti to Lord Ganesh, and they go out, but because of the amount of money that they have in their bank account, they can only afford a very, simple dhoti, something made out of cotton and polyester, and maybe something that's a little more on the orange color than the red because they couldn't afford the red because maybe the red dyes too much. They come to their puja, they're sitting down, they're focusing, and they're offering that dhoti to Lord Ganesh. And there's somebody in the audience who's sucking their teeth and saying, that person's wrong. They're bad at worshiping because they can't follow the scriptures. Is it because that person's not following the scriptures? Is it because that person's not following the scriptures, or is it because they're worshiping within their means? To be foolish is to understand that the scriptures want something, but the scriptures are also asking us to worship within our means as well. If you can't afford a beautiful silk red dhoti to offer Lord Ganesh, that's not a bad thing. It's not like you didn't try. What's important when we worship is having full faith and devotion towards Bhagwan. It's not about the material objects necessarily. It's not about the material possessions. It's not about what you can afford and can't afford. If you think that a puja needs to be the most luxurious thing in the world, that you need to have the top quality of everything, that everything has to be gold and silver, that you have to have the freshest of water, the freshest of flowers, the highest quality of dhotis, and that's all you're focused on, then you're not focusing on the right thing. You're not focusing on the right thing. If you're focusing on what Bhagwan means, if you're embodying your soul and your heart and your mind into that worship, you are delving into what is true and what is right for Sanatana Dharma. So again, if we perform out of the scriptures against pride, with pride and egoism, lust and attachment, we're foolish. We worship like demons. We are demons. Because we're focusing too much on those physical things of the world. That's what Bhagwan Shri Krishna states. But he wants us to be, understanding about these people who worship, how we worship, and how that mode affects our worship. So the three modes of material nature, Sattva, Tama, and Raja, also affect kind of the way we act in terms of food. So he says further, and I know it's a little bit of a turn when he talks about the different kinds of divisions of faith, but he says that the different divisions of faith also eat differently. They act differently and they eat differently. He goes on to say in verses 7, 8, 9, and 10 to Bhagwan, to Arjuna. Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Aharastva api sarvasya, Trividho bhavati priya, Yajnasta pastata ganam, Desam medham imam Srunu Aya Sattva Bhalarugya Sukha Pritni Vivardhana Rasya Snigdha Stiraharitya Ahara Sattvika Priya Authamna Lavantya Usna Tiksna Ruksa Vihalina Ahara Rajasasyesta Sukha Maya Pradha Yata Yamam Yata Rasam Uti Paryusitam Jayat Chistam Api Jamyam bhajanam kamasapriyam. Shri Krishna sharanam mama. Shri Krishna sharanam mama. Shri Krishna sharanam mama. Shri Krishna sharanam mama. So Bhagavan Shri Krishna goes in verse 7 to say that even the food that a person prefers is of the three kinds of nature, according to the three modes of material nature. The same is true of sacrifices, austerities, and charity. Now here are the distinctions between them. So we have sattva, raja, and tama. We have goodness, passion, and ignorance. So in verse 8, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says that one who eats foods, who's in the mode of goodness, eats foods that help decrease the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, they're fatty, they're wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. Taking that bit by bit. Juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. What do we mean by fat here? What do we mean by fat? Do we mean the actual physical fat, like lard, or the fat that comes from animals? No, that's not what we're talking about at all. When we say fatty foods, we're talking about good fats. Remember, there's good fats and bad fats, just like there's good cholesterol and bad cholesterol in this world. Those good fats are beneficial to us. They help our heart. They help our lives. They help us live better. So if you're reading the packaging and looking at the side and you see that there's total fat content and all of that fat is in the saturated fat column, know that that is not a sattvic food. That is not a food of goodness, okay? So foods dear to those in the modes of goodness increase the duration of life. Fruits, veggies, pure, whole things. Serena and I are working on our little garden outside. We started with herbs. Things like rosemary and basil and mint. Trying to work more on fruits, more on veggies. I actually, for those of you who know me, you know that I hate eggplant. I can't stand eggplant. But eggplant's a superfood. It's extremely helpful for I always say, I'll say baigan, whatever. If you want me to say baigan, I'll say baigan. But I made baigan this last week. It was delicious. It was good for me. It made me feel good. You know that something will make you feel good after you eat it when you don't have to sit down and take a nap afterwards. It's something that provides you energy and sustenance and helps you move on and continue on throughout your day. So, if they provide strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction, they are foods that are good. That is somebody who is in goodness. They eat foods that are good. Foods that are too bitter, too sour, that are salty, that are hot, pungent, dry, and burning are dear to those in the mode of passion. Such foods cause distress, misery, and disease. Distress, misery, and disease. So it's foods that make us want to be attached to this world. Essentially, remember, somebody who works in the modes of passion is somebody who works in the modes of attachment to this world. So foods that are too bitter, too sour, things that are too sweet, that are salt, hotty, pungent, dry. So let me ask you this. What will make you, we've had this discussion before. What will make you want to go and exercise? Would it be that bowl of fruit and veggies, that salad, or would it be that bowl of bara? Now, psychologically, you're thinking, if I eat the bara, I have to go exercise to burn off the bara. That's not what I mean. I'm asking which one of these foods makes you feel better and gives you energy. When I say feel better, I don't talk about serotonin and those chemical reactions that cause that emotional happiness, but feel better in terms of how your body feels, how strengthful you feel, how energetic you feel, how lively you feel. I guarantee you eat the bar, you'll be happy for a temporary bit of time, and then you'll fall asleep. We talk about food that's too salty, too hot. Guyanese people love hot food. Trinidadian people love hot food. I remember there was years ago, we went to a picnic, and my dad will always tell this story. Auntie Zani made this wonderful curry for everybody to eat. But that curry also had a good number of balafaya peppers in it. For those of you who don't know what balafaya peppers is, and translated to American vernacular, those are habanero peppers, I'm pretty sure. If I'm wrong about that, one of you can come out and text me that I'm wrong about that. So, she made this curry and everybody ate it and they loved it. And, people were sniffling and they were sweating, but they were having a good time because they were eating it. they were eating it. So she made that really good food. People enjoyed it in the time. Remember, that's that physical enjoyment. That's that physical enjoyment. But for someone like my father, who's known to get heartburn from eating very spicy foods, for someone like me, who's known to get heartburn from eating very spicy foods, I don't know if that's inherited or not. I'm going to blame him for that, though. What happens to us afterwards? We're in a little bit of distress. Because our stomach's producing extra acid, that acid's boiling up, it's burning our esophagus, it's causing our lungs to be on fire, our heart to be on fire. That's why it's called heartburn, right? So for me, I know that if I eat something that's too hot, too spicy, it's going to deter from me. Nonetheless, I'm always going to eat Auntie Zani's food because it's delicious. It makes me happy every single time I eat it. So next time I see you, Auntie Zani, we're going to have a feast. I notice that kids nowadays like to have these trends where they eat salty foods, very spicy foods, right? That's kind of a big thing that you see on the internet. Kids eating various foods to do things for views. It doesn't make sense to me. Why would you put your body in distress to do so? And finally, in verse 10, devotees, I just realized I'm running out of time. Bhagavan Shri Krishna states, food prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten, food that is tasteless, decomposed, and putrid, and food consisting of remnants and untouchable things is dear to those in the modes of darkness. So food that doesn't have taste. Your potatoes, your starches, crackers. Now, take this with a grain of salt. 3 hours before being eaten, food prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten, that's not always going to be realistic necessarily. Understand that. We meal prep for the week to make our lives easier because we need to. I'm not saying that if you prep your food and you eat it throughout the week that you're eating in a mode of darkness, that you're living in a mode of darkness. We have to do with what we're given. Okay, we have to work within the realms that we can. Even for pujas, I know that the folks who will cook food every time we have a service at somebody's house, they wait till the midnight, till the day of that puja to start cooking food. Is it realistic for them to start cooking food 3 hours before the puja? No. Why? Because they may not get done, but then they may not be able to sit down and enjoy the puja. So again, I'm not saying that, that 3 hours rule is a hard, fast rule, but food that is decomposed and putrid, and food consisting of remnants of untouchable things is dear to those in the modes of darkness. If you Google sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic food online, you'll see some articles that tell you the correct thing. Fruits, veggies are sattvic foods. But then foods for those who are ignorant are foods that are meats, things that turn your body into a graveyard. I read a few articles that said that things like eggs and chicken are sattvic foods. That is not true, devotees. That is not true. Even though we say that chicken is a white meat protein that helps our bodies produce and facilitate growth of muscles, you'll find that plant-based proteins are actually better for that because it's a direct source of protein. You should not take a life and consume that life and call it sattvic, because that is not being good. So if you read an article that says chicken and eggs is sattvic food, just know that that article is wrong. It's somebody that's trying to, I think, manipulate the way that religion is told to prove a point. That is not right. The scriptures specifically say any sort of meat, any sort of living creature, things with eyes and mouth, whether they be fish or chicken or duck or beef or lamb or goat, doesn't matter what the meat is, that is considered a food for those who are ignorant. Not passionate for those who are ignorant. That is in the mode of darkness. I want to dwell further into these devotees. Unfortunately, again, I'm running out of time, but take a look at verses 7, 8, 9, and 10 of chapter 17 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita and listen and understand to what these kinds of foods are. Google and see what sattvic, tamasic, and rajasic foods are. Message me if you have any questions. But we end on verse 11. And in verse 11, Bhagavan Shri Krishna goes on to tell Arjuna one thing further that he wants to elaborate more on chapter 17. He looks at Arjuna and states, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, 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 Afala Kanti Simhyachno Vidhi Nistoya Injate Yastavyam Evatimana Samanhaya Sasatvikam Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. So ending on verse 11, devotees, Bhagwan Shri Krishna tells Arjuna that for those who are in the nature of goodness, they perform a sacrifice. And what is the sacrifice that those in goodness perform? And again, this is in relation to our divisions of faith. So, for someone who's good, what do they sacrifice? A good person will sacrifice what we will discuss next week during our regular Sunday morning satsang. Prem se Bolo Krishna Chandra Bhagwan ki Jai. At this time, devotees, I ask that you all join together with me as you go ahead and clasp your hands and close your eyes. Clear your mind of all thoughts and take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, relax your spine, your shoulders, your neck, your head. As you sit in this relaxed position with your eyes closed, take some time to focus on a form of Bhagwan that is most pleasing to you, one that helps you focus and join together with me, devotees, as we chant these closing prayers. Om Sarvesham Swasti Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shanti Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Om Sarve Sukhino Bhavantu, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschita Dukha Bhave, Om Mantrahinam Kriyahinam Bhaktihinam Janardanam, Yatya Pujitam Maya Neva Paripurnam Tarastu Me. Papoham papu karamaham papu atma papu sambhuatrahi mam pundarikaksham sarva papo haro hari. Om tvameva matascha pitha tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva vidyadravinam tvameva sarvam mamaneva deva. Sattva Sadgamaya, Tamasuma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityoma Mritam Gamaya. Hari Om Shanti, 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 Hari Om. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Reo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri, Guru Namaha. Om Shanti, Antariksha Om Shanti, Prithvi Shanti, Rapa Shanti, Aushadhaya Shanti, Vanaspati Shanti, Vishwadhya Shanti, Brahma Shanti, Sarvengam Shanti, Shanti Reva Shanti Sama, Shanti Rehi, Hari Om Shanti, 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 Hari Om Tatsat. Prem se Bolo Ganesh Bhagwan ki Jai. Prem se Bolo Adi Shakti Durga Mata ki Jai. Prem se Bolo Navgraha Devata ki Jai. Prem se Bolo Vishnu Bhagwan ki Jai. Prem se Bolo Shiva Shankar Bhagwan ki Jai. Prem se Bolo Shiva Shakti Mandir ki Jai. Prem se Bolo Sanatana Dharma ki Jai. Devotees, with this we have come to the end of our Sunday morning satsang, and I'd like to thank each and every one of you for being here and joining with us live during our service for today, and for those of you who are watching sometime in the future as well. Devotees, I just want to give a few announcements in regards to events that are coming up on the Hindu calendar. In July, we do have one event coming up. That is Friday, July 23rd. Again, Friday, July 23rd. That day marks Guru Purnima. So for those of you who have a guru, it would be a very auspicious time for you either to go visit or give a call to your guru, provide worship, say praise, say worship, that your teachers are the ones who teach you how to live through life, do the things that you do, and specialize in the skills that you specialize in. So again, that is Friday, July 23rd. And then on Sunday, August 22nd of 2021 will mark the period of Raksha Bandhan. So for those of you who have a sibling out there, that it will be a good time for you to celebrate. And then finally on Sunday, August 29th, 2021 will mark the period of Krishna Janmashtami. We will be performing our puja on that day, whether we're in person or virtual. Well, we're still going to be virtual nonetheless. Whether or not we are in person as well is to be determined. We will have more updates for you on that as we continue on monitoring everything. And that brings us to our announcements from our president, and that is based on the trends of COVID and what we're seeing within the population, the number of people that are being vaccinated. We are considering opening up the Mandir in late July. Once we have an exact date, devotees will let you know. Hopefully by not next week, but the week after, which should be July 11th, we should have a good idea as to whether or not we will be opening the Mandir back up. I will continue to talk with the president, and we'll talk with the executive board, or the executive board will discuss this as well, and we'll figure out a time and date when we can open the Mandir. Hopefully it's going to be in the next 2 months. But again, we're still monitoring everything. The light is at the end. Well, I shouldn't say that. We can see the light on the horizon. We're almost there. We're almost out of this. If we continue to work hard together, we will be able to see each other again. I do ask for those of you who would like to come back to temple, if you've not been vaccinated, please do so. If not for you, then for the benefit of others, but also for the benefit of you. And if you know that you're not vaccinated and you choose not to get vaccinated, my ask is that if you do come to temple, that you stay protected, that you wear a mask at all times. Again, for those who are vaccinated, there's not too much to worry about. Again, still a 5% chance that COVID could be in their system, but it's more of a protection for you. Mandir is known to be a safe haven for all of us who are coming. It's an area for us to be able to sit down and worship and find ease in our lives and in our soul. And the last thing I would want is for anybody to come to temple and acquire some disease that would cause and wreak havoc and chaos on their lives. So, as we continue to assess the situation and before we open up the temple again, I want you all to take that into consideration and make sure that you're being very cognizant of yourself and those that are around you when we open Mandir back up. But with that being said, let's move on to a happier note and talk about some birthdays. This week we had 4 people that celebrated birthdays. So to Uncle Chris Kumar, and I mentioned Auntie Zani earlier, but to Uncle Chris, happy birthday to you. To Ganesh, I believe you're celebrating, Gita had mentioned it in the chat, your 19th birthday. Happy birthday to you, Ganesh. To Auntie Kamala, happy birthday to you as well. And to Randy, who is one of the assistants who always helps out. I'm so excited. He's going to be one of the people that I'm really, I'm excited to see everybody, but I'm excited to see my friend back again at service when we're all back together. So to Randy, happy birthday to you as well. To those of you in chat, to Sister Priya and to Sita, Sita Ram. And as far as anniversaries, we had one couple that celebrated an anniversary. So to my Terapua and to my Barry Poopa, I'm not going to call you Poopa. I don't think you like being called Poopa. So to Uncle Barry and to my Terapua, happy anniversary to you both. With that being said, devotees, for those of you who had birthdays, for those of you with anniversaries, I hope you had a fantastic day and a wonderful week. Devotees, I hope that you all continue to have a wonderful week. Stay safe out there, stay happy, stay healthy. If there's anything you need from me, feel free to give me a call. If there's anything you need from anybody, give them a call. Take some time to check up on somebody, read through some of these chapters of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Have a fantastic week. Thank you for tuning in. Jai Sita Ram.